we have seen a number of different issues that have come up that has called upon the ERB to realign their regulatory frameworks to suit these changes that have been coming from different angles and just promote our sector. And most of them being, you've seen the introduction of the open access framework that has promoted competition and led to the reduction of our pricing mechanisms. As you've seen, like I earlier mentioned, our pricing is now very competitive because of that introduction of the open access. But beyond that, that's just in the petroleum. We've also got in the electricity subsector where we've seen, we've had an emergency tariff carrying the country right now, and which has brought a pricing that is accommodative to those low-income households. It's been pro-poor. We've brought in a lot of provisions in terms of how quickly you can access your licenses now, so that we can just ensure that we continue to provide the energy products and services and continue to ensure that consumers, the government policies are all getting a benefit and sustainability in our sector. So really this theme for us has really been a testament on how resilient ERB has been in promoting an environment that promotes energy.
Awesome. Now, obviously, somebody out there who's listening to us, you've mentioned especially the elephant in the room, which is the reduction of the petroleum, the fuel rather, and the diesel, and well, also you've mentioned the tariffs. Now, to you, Natalie, I want to find out from you, how does the ERB framework result in business resilience? And I want you to speak to, owing to the fact that Namkolo here has mentioned to say we faced the drought recently, and how did ERB manage to stay afloat during that time?
Okay, thank you so much for the query. Well, as our MPR alluded to, we are regulating all three subsectors. So for the electricity subsector, as she just stated, the four which are units for about 200 kwacha, between 100 kwacha and 200 kwacha, depending on whether you're an SME or a household, you'd actually be able to get lower prices. That is electricity. We also have the open access regime in petroleum, which, as you saw, companies are now able to bid for accessing transportation of diesel through the pipeline. And of course, as you saw, the prices of petrol have drastically reduced because the transportation of diesel through the pipeline is a much cheaper method than actually bringing them through the road. So these two aspects in themselves, with regards to petroleum and diesel, have seen us actually helping households and SMEs have lower prices in these sectors. For the LPG sector, the ERB is actually regulating margins and prices going to about 40 kgs, 40 kwacha per kg, apologies, which is more equal across that particular subsector.
Awesome. Now, if we speak of the LPGs, recently I just had a conversation with the Indeni CEO, and he was saying, look, this is the game changer. Yes, it's something that everybody is using now. Obviously, Namkolo spoke of the tariffs. Now, with regards to the tariffs, Namkolo, what are some of the regulatory interventions that ERB has put in place, especially on electricity subsectors? Speak to that.
Okay, so when I think Natalie ably explained the decision that was given by the board in 2024 April to declare an emergency tariff that was going to be pro-poor, with the bandwidth that she has explained, the 100 kwacha. If you buy units for 100 kwacha, you get a discounted rate, as well as 200 for household and 200 for SMEs. What that was doing is making it cost reflective and also trying to manage the tough situations that we found ourselves in. And also at the same time, with that emergency tariff, what we were trying to do is ensure that ZESCO is able to provide at least 7 hours of power to the public, while it's also recovering some funds to be able to allow it to be operational. Because at the same time, you may understand that ZESCO is in the business of making money, but as well as providing a service to give you, it means they're also incurring a loss in their operational. So there's no operational efficiency in that case. So part of our decisions, when we're making a decision to put a tariff, we have to look at the financial viability of the organization, and also the cost that they need to spend for them to be able to give us that service of providing you with the power. So the tariff that we put as an emergency tariff at the time, and that we still, and has been extended 3 times, I must mention, has continued because we're trying to continue to provide you with the electricity at a reasonable price, taking into consideration the needs of the low-income household as well as the SMEs, because it is our responsibility to take care of the consumer needs as well as to balance the operations of the licensee and ensure that government policy is being realized by ensuring that the provision to realize policy as well as regulatory framework that is supposed to make the energy sector resilient. Awesome. So that is the logic behind the emergency tariff that was put in place. Awesome. But I want to mention just some interventions. Like we said, we now, we process power purchase agreements from 30 days to 48 hours now, because again, we want to make energy available to all our, our licensees receiving the service, as well as our consumers out there, the different aspects of them. And to do that, we have to bring about frameworks that are responsive. So if you know, previously, it would take 30 days for a power purchase agreement to be agreed. If there's a company that wants to buy power, maybe between 2 companies, it would take 30 days for us to give that license. But now it's just 48. Get a solar license, you apply, and all is in order. Within 48 hours, you should be able to get that license. Meaning, we're trying to fast track to ensure that there's a resilient sector and business continue to operate and thrive, regardless of the energy crisis that we may be facing.
Awesome. Now, if one was listening to you right now and they want to get into the power purchase and so on and so forth, they're thinking of that route. They're like, okay, so I'm gonna apply by Monday. I should, or per Tuesday or Wednesday, if it wasn't a holiday, I should have this license in my hands, right? Is that what you're telling me?
All being aligned, all being equal, your documentation is order, you have followed our checklist. Yes, it should be. Actually, right now, I must mention that we do have our licensing team on the stand right now. If you want to start your process of getting a license, we are actually on standby to receive your documentation, guide you through the process, and you should be able to get it within a reasonable time frame. Like we said, we've now tried to reduce our licensing process from 60 days to 30 days. You should be able to receive your license, whichever, whether be it in a construction license, be it operational, provided all is in order and you have the due process has been followed by yourself, we will be able to guide you. You should get your license. Ours is to promote your businesses to thrive, to give you the requirements that you need to be able to succeed. And we are not here to be a hindrance or to have bureaucracy, but we are responding to the environmental changes that are happening in the energy space.
That you mentioned earlier, that's LPG, and obviously this speaks to the gas that is being used in households now. All right, I want you to speak to the solar energy and LPG gas trending, and this is in light with the prolonged load shedding. Is this the game changer? Is this what everybody out there who's listening to us should tend to and say, well, I'm not just going to depend on the prolonged power that I'm not having, but I can also this way. How does one get to indulge with this?
Okay, I think first and foremost, we need to dispel some myths around the use of LPG. I know there's a lady who normally helps me at home with cleaning, and I have an LPG gas stove in place, and she's very scared of it. She doesn't even want to go near it because she says she's heard so many things about explosions and whatnot.
Definitely.
So I mean,
that's the story with my maid as well. She says, "Hey, Stovey,
exactly.
Okay.
So you see that we have to dispel the myths around LPG. Just like electricity, there are safety measures that, if followed correctly, it's very, very safe to use. Yes. So I think we're here as a regulator to say to consumers out there, please do not be afraid. LPG is very safe. All you need to do is follow the tips In fact, if you go on our website or our Facebook page, which is very active, by the way, you will see some very good tips, which I'd like to give to the public as at now. But just to go back to the benefits, not only is there the smoke pollution, but even with regards to surroundings, it's
Definitely.
not climate change aspect. We are chopping down trees that are much needed to help us turn around this energy crisis quickly. So it is climate change friendly, it is clean, and it will also help us in terms of the energy mix that you have at home. So if we are being provided, like our NPR alluded to, 7 hours of power in a day, you don't need to be stuck when you no longer can use your electricity stove. You can quickly change to your gas stove.
Awesome.
Yes, and of course it's fast. I think
It is.
anyone who
It
loves
is.
beans will attest to the fact that you put that beans on.
I'm that person. You're just speaking to that person who enjoys beans.
Yes.
Now, Namkolo, before I let you guys go, this year's stand is